Hello, beautiful people. My name is Kristen. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I appreciate it. Today, I have a book haul, and what I did was I had been gifted, like for a going away present from someone, a $50 gift card, but I just kept carrying it around. And I decided what I was going to do is I don't like to purchase books necessarily from Amazon, but I use an Amazon wish list for my books, which I can go ahead and list it below. I know some booktubers do that. I've always been feeling a little weird about putting them out there, but hey, I can play along. So if you want to see things that are on my TBR, just because it is kind of interesting. I've looked at some other people's, and I have to confess, it's kind of fun to see what it is that they're thinking. And a lot of what's on that list are books that I have gone and put on that list because I have been watching other booktube reviews. So any book, starting from my very oldest recommended or TBR wish list on there, I just started going up and saw how far up I could get with the very, cheapest, even used copy of those said books. And I got all the way up to, I think, into 2020. So I don't have any books left that have been older than that. So I have the books that have all come in, and now I'm going to just share them. And if you have read any of these or have one that you think I should read right away, put that down below. I had the Kiss Quotient. I'm not a big romance reader, but I read all my romances that were on my TBR for February, so I thought what a perfect time to go ahead and get this one, and it was on some of my oldest ones. So these are all going to be books that were put on there before the year 2020, but I'm happy to have them and get to them. This is Binti. This is a short little book, and the other thing is I don't necessarily remember even what all they were, but I remember this was a fantasy book that was kind of otherworldly or race, and I don't remember much else about it, but it's a short kind of intro to fantasy. I was trying to find some new entry points that might be interesting to me. I struggle a lot actually with the fantasy genre, maybe even more so than the romance genre. Those are two genres I really struggle with, trying to find books that really are a good fit for me. So that person's review, and I can't even remember all these people who reviewed it because it's been a couple of years. I've slept since then. So I do want to start adding in the notes who it is that's recommending it for the future. One thing that I've learned from this experience. I picked up The Wives. This is a thriller, mystery. Don't know much about that either. I don't know much about any of these, to be honest. But I know that I put them on my TBRs because of BookTube. So I should maybe call this BookTube Maybe Did It. I picked up August. This one, it says it's a tangled homecoming tale of a young woman returning to rural Patagonia to scatter the ashes of her childhood best friend who committed suicide 5 years before. 21-year-old Amelia might still be living, but she's discontent and apathetic. But once back, she finds herself immersed in the same streets, faces, and music of adolescence. And if her friend's death feels surreal from Buenos Aires, at home the absence becomes a visceral confrontation between now and then. So this one might be really good as I just moved and coming back to where I was born, but I haven't been here in 30 years. Next up was Susan Orlean. The bullfighter checks her makeup. This, I think, if I'm not mistaken, might be the first book she ever wrote, and she has written several books. I am a huge fan of hers. The Orchid Thief, and one of my very all-time favorite books, the library book. She writes nonfiction, so I'm not sure. Yeah, it says best-selling author. Orchid Thief is back with a delightfully entertaining collection of best and brightest profiles. So it's short essays about famous people that she's encountered. I also picked up Spindle. This was another recommendation, and this was from a booktuber that I picture her face, but I was looking for her channel the other day and I couldn't find it. I think she must have canceled or deleted her account because I went through my follow subscribe list and couldn't find it. So if you know who you are, I miss you. I bought this book because I put it on my recommendations that you gave me a couple years ago. And this is a fantasy remake takeoff of Sleeping Beauty. That's what that is. So I thought that was a really clever kind of thing, and she really loved it. Another, I think this is nonfiction, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Yeah, the one woman's obsessive search for the Golden State Killer. And I was really, really into Jack the Ripper. I don't know why. That is like morbid and like so out there. But in college, I just read like 3 different biography / nonfictions, unsolved mysteries. I went to London and did the midnight Jack the Ripper tour where you actually walk the streets where he did all his killings. I don't know why, but this should appeal to me for some reason. I don't normally like gruesome and horror, but for some reason I was just intrigued by that. Also have The Heart's Invisible Furies. You would think that this is one that I had read. It's gotten a lot of discussion, but to be honest, I don't even know much about it. Is he really an Avery or not? Or who is he? Born out of wedlock to a teenage girl who was cast out from a rural Irish community and adopted by a well-to-do, eccentric Dublin couple. So, I like it already. Set in Ireland, y'all. I have a Lisa Jewell, I Found You. So, I can't remember which ones the titles are. I can maybe put it down below. But there was one of these that of hers that I really liked, and then one of hers that was just kind of meh. So I've been wanting to pick up another one or two. This one was one that had gotten somebody else's good review, so I picked that one to put next. And then this one's embarrassing that I should have read it, but again, the romance thing, and that's The Unhoneymooners. I did read one other book, I think, by Christina Lauren, and liked it a lot. So I should really like this one a lot. We'll see. It sounds clever. It's one of the hate wedding party, like the wedding broke up, and so the wedding party, a couple of them, the groomsmen and the bridesmaid, go off on the honeymoon that's already paid for kind of thing, but they don't like each other. So I'm not sure how that went down, but it seemed like a good kind of light read if you're reading something really heavy like serial killers, for instance. Might be good to break it up with some light, funny romance. And then the last one, I'm going to have to remind myself what this one is, but it's a beautiful cover. Is that not beautiful? So the Map of Salt and Stars, summer of 2011, just after Noor loses her father to cancer, her mother moves in order to keep her father's spirit alive. Noor tells herself their favorite story, the tale of Ra'aya, a 12th century girl who disguised herself as a boy in order to apprentice herself to a famous map maker. But when a bomb destroys Nora's house, she and her family are forced to flee across 7 countries of the Middle East and North Africa in search of safety along the very route Ra'aya and her mapmaker took in the quest to chart the world. Following alternating timelines, the Map of Salt and Stars is the epic story, one girl inspired by the legend of another, to learn that if you listen to your voice, some things can never be lost. Ooh, that sounds really good. That sounds really good to me. So, yeah, I like dual timelines and going back, and I like maps and books and secret scrolls and all that kind of stuff. So that will be good. So all of that I got for a $50 gift card, y'all. Not bad, huh? So anyway, let me know, what is your oldest book, like the, not oldest like when it was published, but oldest that you wanted it, you put it on your wish list, and you still haven't gotten it? What's your oldest one? Love to know. Leave me a comment. If you've read any of these and think I should really get into them, if you read them and you didn't like them, go ahead and tell me that too. I can always unhaul, right? I thank you for stopping by. I hope that you have a great day and happy reading.